Again, my name is Chris Forde. I'm the Director of Marketing for Lincoln Trail College and Illinois Eastern Community Colleges. And first of all, I'm kind of pinch hitting for Dr. Zahi Attallah, our president, who was planning to be here today but had to go to another meeting this afternoon. So he said, Chris, can you do this today? And I said, yes. So what we're going to be talking about, Brent and Amie and I will talk about today, is workforce development training. And the point that we really wanted to get out there for everybody is we're here for your needs. There are a lot of options out there for training, obviously. You know, you guys probably all have received emails or cards or whatever of other companies that offer different training options. And we can do all of those things too. We want to make it very clear, and Brent has an excellent point on this that he'll get into, is our training isn't just the classes that are available on our schedule. So if your business, for example, needs somebody to learn pivot tables in Excel, we aren't going to say, well, come take the 16-week Microsoft Excel class and hopefully you'll get what you need. The idea is we will cater training for your needs. And it can be lots of different kinds of training. We have OSHA training that we can do. We can do other safety trainings. Basically whatever you guys can think of, we can find a way to make it happen. And we actually have a whole business and industry training department with Sharmila Kakak, who is overseeing that. And predominantly what that's been known for in our organization is training miners. We've worked with the coal mines throughout Southern Illinois, but we've also worked with a number of other companies, Champion Labs, Sherwin-Williams, big companies, NAL, to provide training for them in some way, shape, or form. And our training is very flexible as well. We can come to you to do the training. You can come to us to do the training. We can come up with a flexible model for the training so that maybe some of it is on location, some of it is online. So there are a lot of options. And I think what we really want to get out to everybody is we want to work with you guys. We want to provide the training that you guys need. Very affordable, high-quality training for everybody so that, again, whether it is something, related to an office product in a computer or, something at a more industrial scale like an OSHA 10 training, all of those things are available through us in some way, shape, or form. So if you have questions, feel free. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Brent, Amie, Dr. Attallah, or Sharmila as well. And we will coordinate all of that and, work with you guys to set something up for you. So with that, Brent, I'm going to call you up and have you talk about some of the other things that we have available.
I'm going to try to stay 6 feet away here so I can see the mask. Okay, so to reemphasize some of Chris's points, so we want to talk about obviously the academic programs that we have. As a college, that's obviously what you're probably most associating with Lincoln Trail College. But to Chris's point, we are also a service organization, and we always have been. But I don't think we have been successful necessarily of getting that information out to our communities. So as Chris says, we can actually build programs that meet the needs of our industry partners, and we do that all the time. So we're working with Hershey now to develop some training programs. We've worked with Flying S in Palestine to develop training programs. We do apprenticeships. We've worked with companies out of Evansville, Indiana, out of all sorts of places, because our goal is not just to educate those students who are wanting to go to universities, but to go straight into the workforce and also to get specialized training to meet the needs of our industry partners. So some of the things that I want to talk about today is our business education, which is where Amie's going to fit in here. And are you comfortable talking about office management as well, what that degree does? Okay. We're going to talk about microcerts, kind of a build your own model, the difference between community ed and credit courses, and then also some of our apprenticeship programs. So before I turn it over to Amie, though, on the microcert front, we currently have 5 different microcerts that are available. These are 6 credit hour certificates, so they're short-term certificates that a student can do in 1 semester or less. And the topics are customer service. So these are things that a student doesn't necessarily go out and get a job in customer service, but they're skills that students need to work in various industries. Right now, teaching our customer service certificates is actually a professor from the University of Illinois. So he's serving as both Lincoln Trail faculty and U of I faculty, which adds a nice spin to this program. Another microcert we have is, and of course, whatever industry you're in, that customer service certificate is going to be beneficial. We're offering that completely online right now, but we can actually tailor that face-to-face to your needs as well. We do have to have a minimum number of students to be in that course. So if your particular business wants to do a customer service certificate for training for your staff, we can either get other people in there or we have to have a minimum number, but that's something we can work out together. They're available online, but we can also set those up for face-to-face trainings as well. So customer service is one of our microcerts. We also have special events or events planning. We have another professor from U of I is teaching that one, and it's co-taught with a professor from Princeton University, so the Princeton out of New Jersey. So the student is getting a Lincoln Trail college education with a Princeton twist on it with that events planning certificate. We have, customer service, events planning. One that I built that I'm very passionate about, none of you are in the public sector, but we have a public service microcert as well. And it's basically a crash course in management with a public twist to it. So if somebody's wanting to work for the city of Robinson or the county, a nonprofit agency, it goes through, these are what the differences are going to be if you're going from the private sector to the public sector, because funding is obviously different, management is different. There are rules and regulations that you have to abide by that you're not necessarily going to have in the private sector. Managing meetings and how that might be different in the public sector. So that was one that I actually built, and I'm very passionate about that one. We also have, customer service, events planning, public service. Philanthropy is one that we're getting ready to launch. So this is obviously one for fundraising, things of that nature. The same faculty, the U of I and Princeton faculty that have helped us build these other microcerts are working on that one. And then the last one that's not yet approved, but I know it will be soon, is our leadership certificate. So again, all of these are short-term certificates that give your employees skills that will help in whatever industry that you're coming from. Chris mentioned the Build Your Own program, and the pivot tables was actually a really good example. That's one that we get requests for all the time. So office staff or somebody will contact us and say, our office staff, they use Excel really well, but pivot tables is something we really want them to use, but they need training. It's not practical for them to sit through a 16-week class where pivot tables is just part of that. So we've actually built special programming, which takes me down to the community ed part. So if your industry doesn't need the staff to have the college credits for it, we can run these through our non-credit or community education programs. So there's no credit associated with it. The students, it's not affecting financial aid if they're going to go back for a degree later on, anything like that. We can actually, depending on what you want to do, we can charge the company directly rather than go through our student billing process. We just have a lot of flexibility with the community education model. There's also less regulation and hurdles for us to get over, which in this case is perfectly fine because we need to build it to meet your needs. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention were our apprenticeship options. This is something that we're just getting into, but in our politically turmoil climate right now, at least every political party seems to agree on apprenticeships as being kind of the thing of the future. So we're focusing on that union there, and apprenticeships is something that we're expanding. So for an apprenticeship to work, the student, this is a federal guideline, a federal definition, the student has to be in our education system for at least 50% of the learning. So if you're at a bank and we want some sort of banking apprenticeship, the student has to be employed at the bank, and they can spend much time there, but 50% of their learning can occur, 49% of the learning can occur directly in that facility. But the other 51% has to be through the college. So we walk that line between theoretical learning and practical on-the-job experience. Especially for, banking was a good example. That's something that you simply have to do. We can talk about it in a classroom, but until you do those things, you don't necessarily learn that. So there are a lot of careers that apprenticeships are ripe for. The federal government has a list of what programs we can do apprenticeships for, and we actually have someone in our district office that kind of coordinates what apprenticeships we can and can't do, and then she facilitates that process. And that brings me to my last point that I wanted to make. Not only do we have our academic programs, which Amie's going to talk about, we are a service organization. We're here to support business and industry, but we are a multi-college district, and that's something that we haven't done a good job here advocating and promoting in the past as well. So while Lincoln Trail College is definitely the college that folks in Crawford County would work with, we're 4 colleges strong. So our partners in Mount Carmel, our partners in Fairfield, and our partners in Olney have programs as well. And we can, if they have something that we don't, we can work with them to make sure those services are offered right here in Crawford County as well. And with that, Amie, if you want to talk about more of the academic side in terms of business education, office management, and any other creative things you've come up with.
Got it. Thank you. And I'm going to do the demasking too. Just easier for you to understand me. So I am new to Lincoln Trail. As I said, I'm Amie Mayhall, but I'm not new to IECC. I've been around for a while. I was hired in as a business instructor at OCC 19 years ago. So I've been in the IEC system for a while, and I've done a lot of business and industry training. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the business programs here, but I also want to key in on some of the things that I've done before with business and industry training. I've done customer service training, which I know we have the micro cert, but maybe you don't even want the micro cert. Maybe we just want a couple-hour workshop. I've done basic computer skills, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, pivot tables. You know, like sometimes there's just one little thing, like they want to learn how to record presentations to post them online. And then sometimes it's a like 3-step. We want Excel 1, 2, and 3, and I have different people that are going to be in each one. I've worked with open enrollment for businesses. So like where any business can enroll into these workshops and take them. And I've done specific ones for even for oil businesses, for AMT transport. I've done keyboarding class for their logistics people for AM transport. Like just all over the board what kind of training we can do. Now, I would say in the last 5 years, that's kind of, we've maybe not done a great job of that with IECC. We used to do tons of it. I put out a lot of courses and training with that. But it seems like in the last 5 or 6 years, we haven't done a good job of promoting it. to our community and making sure that we supply their needs. So hopefully, now that you guys know what's there, you can talk about it with other people in the community and really promote that. So he asked me to kind of lay my vision for what I saw as me and why I would be speaking with you. And I have several reasons that I want to get to know the Chamber of Commerce. The first one is to be a resource for you, whether it's for training, whether it's to point you in the right direction when you have questions. I grew up in family-owned businesses. My parents started their first business when I was 9. They bought a KFC and started it. We built a hotel. My dad was a landlord. So I've done a lot in, grown up in small business and in family business. And so I have a lot of experience with helping people start businesses. I used to teach the financial and planning class for cosmetology. So I've helped a lot of cosmetologists start their own businesses. And I still work with some of them to this day that I've had in class. So there's a lot of just a variety of experiences that we can do and try to be resources for people. I know one idea that Chris and Brent had brainstormed was maybe doing a business boot camp or something like that to teach people how to start their own business. And so we'd definitely be interested in doing something like that and helping the community because, you know, anytime a small business starts, it doesn't just help that person, right? It helps our community. That's part of the invisible hand is bringing that forward. I also want to build relationships with the industry, with the business people here in Crawford County. I've been, like I said, at OCC for a while, so I know a lot of the people in Alney in business, but I don't here. So I'm hoping through the chamber I can really get to meet people, build ideas for internships for our office management program. Also, I was talking to Dean Todd here just a little bit ago, but I had my students do a marketing plan for how to increase enrollment here. And they would like to see more internships offered. Not even for career and tech programs, but like business internships. So like the banking apprenticeship, I can really see a link here, and I would love to help drive some of that for the business area. Our office management program, we're training students for working in the office field. It could be like an administrative assistant type position. It could be an office manager. They're getting the skill set that they need to run an office. And then in our business track, which would be mostly business transfer, we have intro to business, we have marketing, we have management, we have all your office classes. So we have all those available, as we mentioned, in a 16-week format. But we also can just tailor those. And some of my favorite ones to teach have been, here, can we send you some Excel spreadsheets and you show us how to do this on those sheets? I love it because I can have their material and I can work with it ahead of time and I can build handouts for them that tell them step by step how to do what they're trying to do. And what is more applicable than that, right? So those have been some of my most fun ones to teach. I also will be looking for guest speakers in my classroom. Whether we record it and show it to them later or whether you're able to be there on site during class, I think guest speakers are very important to the full 16-week class period. And I think that just brings just a different layer to their knowledge and just builds them as a good, fully trained student. And I will be looking for case studies for the classroom. So I do a lot of hands-on projects. I don't just stand and lecture all day. I've done that game. That's how I learned. And you learn so much more when you're hands-on, when you're doing things. So I will be looking for case studies. Maybe there's a business in the community that's looking to do something specific with their marketing or specific with their management, or they want to look into philanthropy. Like, I would love to be able to take that information, let the students study it, and to come up with a game plan on how they think they can help give them recommendations for what they can do. Obviously, they're not doing it for them, but they can give some feedback. I've been involved with even feasibility studies. I did a feasibility study over in Paris, Illinois on a hotel that was maybe coming to town, which I told them not to by the end. But, you know, just even teaching students what you do in a feasibility study is just awesome. And that's outside of the book. And that's my style. That's how I work, is doing things like that. So that's pretty much what I have. Is there anything else you wanted me to cover?
No, but you brought up a really good point about the feasibility study. Another thing that Lincoln Trail can do is, be a resource in terms of data. So you may not think about a community college having to do all of this, but anytime we review an existing program or we're looking to create a new program, we have to justify a need for that to the state of Illinois before we can ever offer it. So we pay for some pretty powerful data programs. So obviously U.S. Census Bureau data of labor statistics are all out there, but we also pay for some pretty powerful data programs where we can pull industry need and demand by county. We can create county groups. So if the chamber is interested to know, can we support this particular business? Is this an idea for Crawford County? That's information we have access to as well, and we can pull that information.
That's a great point. Because that's a huge part of the feasibility study process, is being able to get that, access that data.
Yeah.
I mean, even taking a look at traffic patterns, if you're looking at locations, there's all kinds of stuff that comes into that. And that would be an excellent fit.
Right.
So thank you for listening. It was nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, this was wonderful to listen to you all speak, and I'm just amazed at how many services are offered here and how many different, segments of classes and the micro certificates and things like that. So I think we're so lucky to have such a strong education system here with Lincoln Trail and the other colleges as well.